All right.
All right, we are live. Welcome to the show, gents. I'm here with Hameed. Hameed
What's
is
up, guys?
two-time guest on the Barstool Bitcoin podcast. Welcome
Nice.
back.
I feel very honored to be back again. So thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. We're happy to have you. You're the first repeat guest, actually. So
I
I'll do a
appreciate
little
it.
introduction for you to give the gents some backstory on who you are in
Sure.
case they didn't hear the first episode. But you're the founder of CryptoCowboys.io. You've been an entrepreneur before crypto. You started a couple businesses. You sold your app business. You had a web brokerage where you helped small business owners exit their e-com businesses,
Right.
and now you're a crypto enthusiast and you have your own YouTube channel, Crypto Cowboys. You have a couple Telegram groups. So we're
Yep.
happy to have you on again and discuss this exciting 10-year history of Bitcoin. We just had Bitcoin's birthday the other day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty it's crazy, man. That's 10 years already. It's just well, I didn't really find out until like 4 years in, I think. But 10 years is a long time. But really, I was just on a call with somebody yesterday who's been mining Bitcoin since 2010. Not he doesn't mine anymore, but he's a data scientist, startup advisor, and he put it in perspective. He's like, we're not really in the beginning anymore because it has been 10 years. I know a lot of people like to promote that it's still so brand new, but we're really not in the beginning anymore. But we're still very early, and you know, for anyone who wants to really just understand and learn and just really kind of dive in. And we're not telling anyone to invest anything. That's not what this is about. But just to really understand, this is like the best time. The best time was yesterday. Today is the second best time, right? So you definitely want to learn because this technology is coming fast, and it's going to disrupt the biggest social issue, or one of the biggest social issues on the planet, which is money, right? So which kind of starts the domino effect with damn near all the issues on this planet. So Bitcoin is solving a lot more problems than I think most people understand. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yesterday was the 10-year anniversary, so I had to go back and reread the white paper just to refresh my memory because it's such a I mean, what a crazy journey, and it's only been 10 years. Just recently Morgan Stanley said that crypto is a new institutional investment class since 2017 only. But I
Hmm.
mean, it's been around 10 years, and that's nothing to see how far it was. Fractions of a penny 10 years ago.
Yeah, man. There's this article that I think came out on Cointelegraph yesterday. It said, I think it was late October 2009. It was for $1 you can own like 2,300 bitcoins. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Excuse me. But now, I mean, shit, dude, 2,300 bitcoins at like 1.2 million or something, if my math is right, or 1.5 million.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So the
it's
guy
crazy.
you talked to yesterday, he was mining Bitcoin before it halved.
Yeah, exactly. He started mining in 2010. So just imagine like every block you're getting like 50 Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So, or unlocking every block that's mined or unlocks 50 Bitcoin at that time. That's crazy. So, anyhow, yeah, he was mining at that time, and obviously, I'm not going to ask him how much Bitcoin he owns, but based
Well,
on
we can speculate. Bitcoin in 2011 hit $1 for the first time, $1. So he was mining Bitcoins when it was
right,
just pennies.
yeah, exactly. So, and this is why he's traveling a lot, right? Why he's a blockchain advisor and so on. So, it's crazy, man. It's crazy how the price has exploded, but that's because demand has exploded, right? So simple supply demand economics. And the next halving is coming up in about 500 days. And institutional money is coming in. And on top of that, Chain Analysis just released a report the other day stating that on the high end, about 3.79 million Bitcoins are lost. On the low end, I think it was 2.78% Bitcoin. So that's 17 to 23% of the circulating supply that's lost forever, right? So then on top of that, how many whales own like 10,000 plus Bitcoins? There's a lot of them out there. So, but
Right.
really, how many are really circulating in supply? It's not as much as you think it is when you look at coinmarketcap.com. It says there's 17 point whatever million Bitcoins in circulating supply, but there's really not as much as we think there is. Then on top of that, Bakkt is going to release their futures exchange, I believe, on
Mhm.
December 12th.
Settled in Bitcoin.
Exactly, settled in, I believe, physical Bitcoin. And then a CBOE ETF announcement supposed to be on December 30th. And all signs are pointing towards that being approved. And that's a physically backed Bitcoin ETF. So how much more Bitcoin ETF is going to be taken? How much more Bitcoins that is going to be taken off the market? And how many Bitcoins are going to be left in circulating supply? Not as much, but demand's going to go up, but the supply is going to decrease. Then we have a halving in about 500 plus days, where each block mine is going to go from 12 Bitcoins to 6, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I know a lot of people like to speculate and nobody really knows what the future holds, but in my opinion, don't take this as fact, but I think all signs are pointing to new all-time highs in the next 24 months. Just a guess,
Mhm.
but what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with you that we will see a new all-time high in the next 2 years. I don't think it'll be within the next 12 months. It's possible, but not
I agree.
likely. I think this year is, I mean, Rand Neuner just retracted his statement that Bitcoin was going to hit 50K by the end of 2018. A lot of people are taking more conservative estimates for this year. Um, and I agree with them, but I think in 2 years, it is very likely we're going to see another record bull run, and
I
we'll
think so
definitely
too.
top all time highs. It's just like you said, simple supply and demand economics.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, yeah, I agree. In the intermediate, I don't even what's his name? Arthur Hayes from BitMEX. So he famously on CNBC predicted that we would see 50,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year as well. Now he's saying that it's very possible we could be in a bear market for the next 18 months.
Right.
Now, I don't know about all that, but yeah, I agree with you. I think in the next, I think we're going to still see probably newer lows in the coming months, in my opinion, but, or even in the coming weeks, possibly. But I agree with you as well. I think in the next 24 months, I think the next year we won't see 20K Bitcoin. We're just guessing here, guys. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I think in 24 months we're going to see new all-time highs, and it's going to be a crazier bull run than the last one.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
it's important if you're listening to this and you're living off of your Bitcoin to be prepared for an extended, what they're calling a bear market at a price range we're at right now could potentially even dip lower in the next 12 months. So you need to safeguard yourself if you're living off your Bitcoin against, 5K Bitcoin, 4K Bitcoin, you need to be okay. But just hold strong, don't ride that emotional roller coaster so much. Just wait it out, because we're gonna see, I fully believe that we're gonna see record highs in the next 15 months. Like, I think shortly after, in the next year, in the next year and a half, potentially we'll see a record bull run. It's going to start again.
yeah, and not only that, I think so I'm just kind of piggybacking off my conversation with this gentleman. So I'm not a Bitcoin developer, right? I can barely even write a line of code. Um, but this gentleman is a Bitcoin developer, and we were talking yesterday, and he was actually at a Lightning Core Lightning hackathon, and apparently there's a lot of exciting stuff coming out with scaling. And don't be surprised if you even see Bitcoin dominance go back up even further. I mean, it's gone back up to 50+%, but everyone's kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting for this altcoin run to happen again. And it could happen, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's going to happen with any of the existing altcoins, maybe like in the top 10, but don't be surprised if we see Bitcoin dominance even go up in the coming years. And not only because of supply demand economics, but also because people are going to actually be able to use this stuff at
Mm-hmm.
your local cafe, at Starbucks, you know what I mean? Like, be able to pay for everyday goods and services with Bitcoin, to use it as electronic cash that was stated in the white paper. It's coming. I mean, there's no guarantee, but all signs again are pointing to Bitcoin eventually fulfilling what was stated in the white paper to be able to use it as electronic cash. Now, is it going to be used as a worldwide reserve currency? I think the United States, China, and Russia will have something to say about that because there's no way in
Yeah.
hell they're going to give up power. But in terms of being able to use it as another alternative currency to pay for things and not have to sit around and wait for like an hour, 30-minute confirmation, it's coming. I think scaling is coming and it's going to be really exciting time. So, yeah, I mean, if you're living off Bitcoin, man, I mean, you gotta find ways to develop income, right? So
Hmm.
you gotta definitely build businesses. You gotta do something, even go work. I don't know, do something. Because in my opinion, you definitely want to hold on to your Bitcoin as much as possible. Because the coming like 2 to 5 years is going to be really exciting, and the people who have the most Bitcoins or have any Bitcoins whatsoever are going to be very very happy in the coming years. So
Yeah, it's going to be a big power shift too of the world, and if you're living off Bitcoin, you're probably a trader, so there's not much volatility in the market right now, so it's
there's
good
not.
advice to find other sources of income. It's a good accumulation phase as well, so if you can make income in Bitcoin, that's a good idea too. But I mean, what do you think about this consolidation period we're in right now? What do you think it means? Bitcoin's been so steady for the last pretty much 12 months, almost a year now.
Yeah, there's just not as much demand on the retail side, and I think the institutions are just dipping their toes. Like I don't know if I don't nothing I don't know. I don't doesn't look like there's much institutional money in the space right now. So retail demand has gone down. There's not as much speculation as there was before. That's probably a good thing. Um, so my opinion is there's just not as much retail money coming into the market right now.
Mm, yeah.
So, that's there's just a lot of money sitting on the silence. And you got to understand, like, for people listening here, if you're an institution, AKA white whale, you don't want to buy $6,300 Bitcoin at the time of this recording. I believe that's what the price is at or around there. You want cheaper Bitcoin, right? So, and again, we're just guessing here. There's no definitive um, prediction, but I think in the intermediate, we could see lower Bitcoin because
Hmm.
institutions want cheaper Bitcoin. So when you get someone like Jamie Dimon on CNBC saying, I don't give a shit about Bitcoin, and then a year before, Bitcoin's a fraud, but I believe in blockchain. Like, okay, dude, but the market moves on this type of news. So rich people don't want to pay premium for stuff, especially for Bitcoin, but they want their hands on Bitcoin because they know this is where the technology is headed, and we're
Hmm.
heading towards a semi decentralized world. When I say semi, I don't believe a lot of businesses or industries will be decentralized because I don't think blockchain, from what I understand, is it's a slow and inefficient database, but it's great for accounting purposes, right? So it's perfect for money. But for putting like high bandwidth technology, such as you get these ICOs coming out saying, oh, we're putting video on the blockchain or decentralized search engine. It's like it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Like it's too slow for that, right? So it's all hype. But in terms of like solving a social issue like money or anything that has to do with any type of accounting, blockchain's perfect. So it's coming, and I think institutions and wealthy people know that, and this is why you see a lot of shilling or shill not shilling. You see a lot of manipulated news um, being presented on stations like CNBC. When people need to realize CNBC, right? So they launched their whole crypto sector, I guess you could say, when it comes to reporting news. What people don't realize is CNBC is owned by, or NBC Studios is owned by Comcast, and 85% of the shareholders in Comcast are institutions. And the five top institutions that are the five largest shareholders, that is, two of them, I believe, are BlackRock and Goldman Sachs, if I'm not mistaken. You can research this and look on Wikipedia to show you. Do you think they're honestly going to report honest news? You know what I mean? Like, obviously not. They're going to share what is going to help their bottom line. and their bottom line is to extract from the rest of us. So we need to be aware of that and understand that whenever we see certain things being promoted on CNBC, don't be so quick to buy into everything you see in the traditional media. Really know and do your homework and do your research, and know who you're and pay attention to who you're getting your news from, because not everyone has your best interest in mind, right? So I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry, man. I'm a little sick, so my voice is all over the place, and I kind of lost my train of thought. But anyhow, yeah, guys, just pay attention to who you pay attention to, and you definitely want to be on podcasts such as Dan's, for example, Crypto 10x, and just listen to people who are really in the trenches and have their relationships in the space where they're getting the real information and the real reporting on what's going on behind the scenes, not what you see on TV or in traditional media, because traditional media is not thinking about the average retail investor. They're thinking about their bottom line, which is essentially institutional money.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's good advice. I think a lot of media sources are have their own political agendas, and you're gonna have to sift through all of that propaganda. Essentially, it's
Yeah.
just not
Yeah.
necessarily propaganda, but it's fake and real news both in one, because it's selling a story that is potentially built off the truth, but all of the news put together is suits the agenda of the shareholders and the entities that control it.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of institutions that are looking at crypto, and they're looking at crypto because they have investors, retail investors who want to get in, and they're taking their time to build products for them, but they see the potential. I mean, NASDAQ, Citibank, now Morgan Stanley,
Yeah.
they're all accumulating right now, I'm sure. And they're
Absolutely. Yeah.
thinking and coordinating ways that they can push the price and price suppress even further and further, as much as they can, really, to accumulate even more at cheaper prices.
Absolutely. I mean, you and I are familiar with this, but there's a lot going on in the OTC market. And you don't see that volume in the charts. You don't see that volume on Coin Market Cap, but there's a lot going on. I think during the week of consensus, I think there was like 2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin in USD, that was sold on the OTC market a few months back. I mean, God knows what the numbers are now. I have no idea. But yeah, you're right. The institutions are accumulating. And it's just a matter of time because they know where this thing is headed.
Yeah.
And this is how it is, man. That's why this is how a lot of the elite and the rich just stay rich. You know what I mean? So for us as average retail investors, we need to be really careful and tread lightly and do your homework and do your research and, really fact check everything that you hear and read, especially in traditional media, because again, they're not thinking about your bottom line or our bottom line. And that's why we have shows like this, like Crypto 10X, or even my show with Crypto Cowboys. Is just we're trying to get real information out there to people so they can make better informed decisions and
Yeah,
stay safe.
definitely.
You
No
know,
bullshit, because people need to hear what the facts are. Like, what do you think about the whole Tether situation and the Tether burn? They burnt 500 million tokens. Now they have a new banking partner after all these rumors and finally announced it. What do you think of all that?
they're still sketch to me, man. I mean, they're tied to an exchange. Like the CEO of Bitfinex is also the CEO of Tether. They shared like the same, I believe, CFO and COO. We just did a video about this actually. We just put it on our channel, Tether versus True USD. And I'm actually going to speak to the trust token people. I believe next week we're going to do an interview. Um, yeah, I don't know. Tether just seems really sketch. They still haven't done a real audit. So there's a reason why they burned 500. What was it? Would you say it was 500 or
Yeah,
800?
500 million,
There's a
like just
reason.
over 500 million.
Right. There's a reason why they did that, because they probably got some heat on them, probably from the FBI. You get what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like, so this is what happens is the FBI, the government will find these companies. And once they find the companies, they can't remove them, but they'll cripple them. And then the companies can't continue their business or their development. And then one day you just find out they close up shop. And then people have like tens of thousands of dollars worth of Tether sitting on their exchange. overnight becomes worthless. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Tether. I have no idea, but you got to look at these things. You got to really do your research and know what the problem is with a lot of these projects, except for a stable coin such as Tether. So for me personally, I know Coinbase and Circle just launched their own stable
Yeah.
coin. Those are
USDC, right? US
right.
dollar coin.
Yeah, exactly. Those are coins I would or trust token or with true USD that is. Those are stable coins that I would probably feel more safer putting my purchasing power in those coins as opposed to a Tether. Tether's sketch, dude.
I've
I mean,
never once bought Tether for exactly the reasons you've mentioned,
yeah,
and you're right. I think USDC is definitely more legit. Coinbase is
mhm,
pushing crypto forward. They're dealing with regulators.
absolutely.
They're patenting applicable technology around the space, and Circle is the biggest OTC desk out there. I mean, they're
Right.
massive and they're developing all sorts of different products. So it's definitely more trustworthy.
Absolutely. Coinbase is going to be the new bank. That's it.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
they're going to onboard a lot of these altcoins. And remember, they don't care if these altcoins are real or not. As long as they meet regulatory standards, they're going to sell them. And that's it. You know what I mean? So they're going to onboard a lot of retail investors to a point where this is my prediction, at least as a US investor and a Canadian investor, you probably won't need to deal with any other exchanges. You'll just deal with Coinbase or Gemini, and that's it. Because the altcoins, especially Coinbase, the altcoins will be all there. All the ones that you want to buy will probably be on Coinbase eventually. So they'll be
Yeah.
your fiat on ramp. They'll be from the retail side. Now, the institutional side, I have no idea, but we'll see. But if they can develop like institutional grade trading tools with compliance built on the back end, which they may, who knows, then they're going to capture from one end of the spectrum to the other the entire scope of the market. But all in all, I think Coinbase is going to be the bank for crypto, at least in North America. So
Yeah, Coinbase
we'll
is
see.
huge. I agree. They're great. Honestly, they're a great company. So they'll be around for years. I believe probably decades. And they just were purchased, not outright, but by a bank, right? Is that right?
I'm not sure, but I know they did another round of funding just I think a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're
I don't
about
know.
to do an IPO. They're gearing up for an IPO, and they did a Series E funding. I think it was 300 million.
Yeah, yeah, it was actually I think on October 30th, or they're now valued at about $8 billion, but I think
Hmm.
they just closed the round on October 30th or 29th
They could
of
be the
about
next
300
trillion
million.
dollar company at
It's
the rate
very
they're going.
possible, bro. I mean, it's very, very possible. So if anyone has any equity in Coinbase, kudos to you, man. Because I think I'd rather own a piece of Coinbase than any of these damn cryptocurrencies, to be honest. So
If you got in the Series E, even you're laughing. I'm gonna purchase some shares when they IPO. Not right away. I'm gonna wait for the pump and then the dump, and then
yeah,
I'm gonna buy some shares because I believe in them long term as a company.
yeah, absolutely. They're gonna be around for a long time, and I think, like I said earlier, I think they may end up being like one of the main banks, or if not the bank, for cryptocurrency investors. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
custodianship is big for them too. So that's going to be huge for infrastructure down the line. That's one thing that's really lacking in the crypto space. And we were talking about supply and demand earlier, and I mean a lot of people think that institutions aren't in crypto, but the fact is they're getting in and out. But really what is going to drive the supply and demand equation and really pump Bitcoin, I think, is the masses coming into crypto.
I
What do
agree.
you think is preventing, like, what's the biggest thing preventing the masses from getting in crypto right now? Is it just that
Um,
it's so new, it's too clunky, it's hard to enter the market, or what is it?
yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I just think it's lack of education, and I think it's just clunky. It's just not easy to onboard somebody into the crypto space. Like people, to show people how to like, okay, to buy Bitcoin is easy. I mean, if you can't figure that out, dude, you shouldn't. I don't know. So, I mean, it's just easy as look to open up an account with Coinbase to transfer money to Coinbase and to buy Bitcoin that way. It's as easy as opening a checking account at your local bank. I mean, it's not rocket science. But then beyond that point, to transfer Bitcoin to your own hard wallet, to your private wallet, that's where
Store
it's
it, secure it
right.
for a long
Exactly.
time.
That's where people, I think, that's where it becomes clunky, and I get it. I understand because in the beginning I was kind of afraid. I'm like, I'm looking at the damn public address. I'm like, am I doing this right? You know what I mean? I'm copying and pasting it, putting it in a text document, dragging that text document over to my browser, like comparing each character, word, number or letter for letter, just
Yeah,
to
you
make sure I'm
copy
saying
paste it like 27 times and you're like,
exactly. So, and we've been in this game for a while. So, relatively speaking. So just imagine for the average retail investor getting in, it's kind of scary, right? So
hmm.
that's why I think Coinbase is going to be they're already a big company, but that's why I think they're going to be a conglomerate in the coming years
Yeah.
because they
Excluding
can make money.
Coinbase, if you're purchasing Bitcoin, it doesn't help that the banks are so against crypto right now. I think that makes it a
Yeah.
lot harder if you want to purchase through OTC. One of my bank accounts has been shut down before just from purchasing through OTC.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and I guess the account that there was a Singapore company that I was purchasing through an OTC desk out there, and I guess the guy had told me that one of the rep that I had told me that they use multiple accounts and their accounts are clean. The banks don't know that it's crypto, so I guess
Right.
they eventually were flagged. And then later on, it was weird because my account got was closed, and because of obviously that they found out that I was buying crypto, and then I found out that they sold their company, the OTC desk, to Coinbase, and
Oh, really?
yeah. So I guess I don't know if their account was clean or what happened there and why mine was shut down, but they must have gotten flagged. And I know that I was flagged before I was even shut down because I was having problems receiving wires from tier one countries, and
What
it was
was this, a
because I
Canadian
was
bank account or a
it was
US?
a Panama bank account.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so they closed that down. But it was funny. I guess you live and learn, and now I do understand like why it's difficult for some people to purchase crypto if you're not just gonna if you're not just if it's a copy paste solution, like if you're in the US or Canada, you could just set up on a big exchange like Quadriga or
Right.
Coinbase, and it's pretty easy. I mean, if you're really that skeptical, then you can just go to the local ATM if you live in a city, and you can pay the 7% fee and you can enter the market.
Yeah.
But for the bigger amounts, yeah, I mean, definitely worth it to go through Coinbase rather than an OTC, and get verified on there because, right now it's risky with banking and you don't want to
Hmm.
put your bank account at risk.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know people in the there's a cyberpunk mentality, right? And I get it. And where I'm going with this is people will are against the Coinbases. They're against the centralized exchanges and they believe in the decentralized utopia. And I agree to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, most people are not going to take the time to learn this stuff and store their own cryptos and be their own bank. Because you gotta have to be a big boy, big girl about this. You know what I mean? So most people are not going to do that. So with that being said, this is where Coinbase will come in and other companies as well, where they will not only be your fiat on ramp into the crypto space, but they'll also be your custodial as well, where they'll store your cryptos for you. And I know that kind of goes against the cyberpunk, like, mentality of like, well, no, if you don't own your own private keys, you don't own your cryptos. And I get that. And I agree with it too, 100%. But dude, like right now, whether maybe in 10 years that's where the market will be at. But right now it's that's not where the market's at, man. People want their stuff taken care of for them,
Yep.
so uh, again, back to this is why I think Coinbase will be they're already a big company. They'll be a lot bigger in the coming years. So, because they'll handle all this for you. So, I'm making it sound like I'm promoting for Coinbase. I'm not. I could care
Mhm.
less.
Yeah,
They should
shameless plug here.
they
You
should
must be got
piss
in
me
on that
off.
Series E.
No, not at all. They piss me off with their goddamn fees. But hey, man, they make it easy for people to get into space. So
They do. They do.
that's the trade
It's
off.
fiat on ramp, custodian, fiat off ramp if and when you want to exit the market. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really they're creating a turnkey solution and they're providing education, which is good too.
yeah. Are they? Not
Well,
sure.
they're creating simple tutorials to
I
use
got you.
their services, and as they create more and more products and services, I'm sure they're going to continue to create content for the market. They must be fully aware of what state of the what
Yeah, I agree.
where we are in the adoption curve, and I'm sure they're going to ease that along.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't logged into my Coinbase account in ages, so
Nor have I.
I wouldn't. I don't know what's going on in there as of late, but I don't store anything on the exchanges, so I haven't bought anything with cash in ages, at least through Coinbase or Gemini. So I don't even know what the hell is going on on these platforms. But all I know is that they're building solutions and they're going to make it easier for people to get onboarded into the space. So whether we like it or not, I know we all want that decentralized utopia. I want it as well, right? So, but we're going to see not just Coinbase, we're going to see Bitcoin backed banks pop up, in my opinion. And I urge everyone, go read the Bitcoin Standard and you'll understand why. I mean, that book, after I read that book, I was like, not too sure about these altcoins anymore. So I was like, I think I see why there's Bitcoin maximalists. I get it, but not to say I am by any means. I'm not, but I totally get it. So anyhow, I highly recommend everyone go pick up that book and read it. It's a really good book.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
appreciate that resource drop there, and appreciate you coming on to the show today to discuss Bitcoin, bro.
Yeah, man. Sorry about the voice. I got really sick. I was at this event this past weekend and I got pretty sick. And then I thought I was getting over it. Then I went to this game last night and got sick again. So somewhat sick. I'm just losing my voice. But yeah, dude, let's hit the gym tomorrow if you're down.
Sounds good.
Since we're both in
Sounds
the
good.
Bay.
Yeah, we're both
So
in the Bay Area right now.
for sure.
Yeah, that sounds good. I won't put too much stress on your voice here. One
No, not
last
at all, man.
question.
Go
Do
for it.
you have any last words for the listeners?
Yeah, I think like I said earlier, you really want to pay attention to who you're paying attention to. So you definitely want to follow people like Dan, the Crypto 10X group, and you really want to just take inventory of who you're listening to, because there are some really good people in the space, such as Dan, who are providing real education and real honest reporting in this space. And there's a lot of people who are not, man. I just remember a year ago, I mean, it's still there on YouTube. All these guys talking about this coin's going to go to $50 by December and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that's irresponsible. And a lot of people lost money because of that. And you as a listener, not you, Dan, but I'm saying as an audience, like we really need to take inventory of who we pay attention to. And we really got to follow the right sources and the right people. So, my last message would be just, fact check everything, do your homework, do your own research. Even if your friends are telling you, oh, dude, I'm about to buy this coin and I heard this project's going to blow up. They got a dope white paper, whatever, right? Just don't believe any of that shit. Like, just do your homework and be a critical thinker in this space. Because if you're not, and if you're just riding off a hopium and you're just believing everything you hear and read, you're going to lose your money. You're going to lose damn near everything. So, be very critical, play devil's advocate with everything, and do your homework and fact check everything that you hear, including everything we talk about, even on this show today. Like, don't believe everything we say. Just do your homework, because we could be
Question
wrong.
everything. I
Exactly.
always say that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that'd be my final
Totally right.
message for sure. But yeah,
Appreciate it, man. Well,
appreciate you, bro. Definitely.
thanks again. And to the listeners, thanks for listening. See you guys in the next episode.
We'll see you guys. Take care.